Tanya K. Taylor with Power Light Learning. Today I want to share with you something I woke up with this morning. You know, the world has a saying, what goes up must come down, and that is true pertaining to gravity at least. But what the Lord spoke to me was, what goes down must come up. So let's explore that. First I want to share a verse with you. It's from Galatians 6, actually 3 verses. It says, let's start with verse 7, verses 7 through 9 in Galatians 6. Do not be deceived. God is not to be mocked. Whatever a man, that means a person, sows, he will reap in return. And verse 8 says, the one who sows to please his flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. But the one who sows to please God, the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. So then verse 9 is one that people know more than the other two usually. Let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So most of us understand what it feels like to be weary, whether it's raising a child that continues to disobey, or being a teacher and wondering if your kids are really getting it, or just following God and continuing to give financially and serve and be in the Word every day and pray and worship, and it seems like nothing's happening. But that is a lie. And I'm talking to myself also. We are being rewarded by the Lord for our good works. Now, as I've learned, and my husband's learned, we have to reap on purpose. Like a farmer goes out to reap his harvest, he doesn't just say, you know, come to me. He has to go get it. So we're getting our harvest with our words and with our actions. So these are prompted by faith. But the main thing I want to focus on today is what we put down into ourselves, meaning our eyes, our ears, what we allow ourselves to say by what comes out of our heart. Like Jesus says, it's not what goes into a man that makes him unclean, it's what comes out of him. And so what comes out of us has to do with what is being put into us. So when I was teaching public school, 5th and 6th grade, my middle schoolers would say, oh, Miss Taylor, we are just listening to the beat. We're not listening to the words. Wrong. You cannot not listen unless there's something wrong with your brain that cannot detect or understand the actual words. Whoever listens to music with words is absorbing all of the words and the music. Music and words are processed in 2 different parts of the brain. So there's your science fact for the day. But here's the point. If you listen to angry, sexual, junky music about drinking and fooling around on one's spouse or whatever, then, or not having any money, being broke all the time, blah, 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 life is hard, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? That's what's going to go into your spirit, your heart, the real you, and your soul, the mind, will, and emotions, which is where we make our decisions. Okay? So what we put into ourselves, in other words, what the Lord was showing me this morning was what goes down into us must come up. It will come up. Sooner or later. It may take years, but just like a seed planted in the ground is dormant until it has the right conditions and then it sprouts, which reminds me, that includes 2,000-year-old seeds found in Israel that when they were planted, they sprouted.